Welcome to Small Arm Solutions. Today we're looking at the LMT MRP 300 Blackout SBR. Now this is a 10.5 inch barrel, 300 Blackout. This is the MRP CQB upper receiver where all you basically have to do is pull the front screw out, loosen the second, and you can swap barrels. Now LMT does also offer a 16 inch barrel. However, the 16 inch barrel is not really conducive for subsonic. A lot of times with these longer barrels, with the subsonic ammunition, you're going to get a full burn of the propellant, and sometimes they can go supersonic. So basically, when I shoot this thing, I use solely subsonic. The whole benefit of the 300 Blackout is to have it suppressed and to have it quiet. So with the 10.5 inch barrel, I don't really ever shoot supersonic ammunition. I do have a 16 inch barrel. If I want to shoot supersonic, I would go to that one. It's a matter of changing out swapping out the barrel. So let's talk a little bit about this. Of course, this is a CQB upper receiver, so you can change out the barrels. It's this particular one is a 10.5 inch. It's a cryogenically treated 4150 chromoly vanadium, and this is the ideal. This is the ideal, I would say, barrel length for a 300 Blackout. They do make them smaller. In fact, Centurion Arms just made out with one that was, I think it was 5.5 or so, something around the 5 inch. It was a lot shorter. That's a good thing, except the problem is you don't burn up all your powder, so you're not going to get the velocities, and you're going to get a lot of muzzle flash. So I tend to believe that the 10.5 is probably the way to go. The suppressor that we have on here is a Silencer Co. Omega. This is can go up, 30 caliber, can be used for 22 caliber as well, but this is designed for a 30 caliber. And the mount that we have on here is the Silencer Co. ASR mount. Now, Silencer Co. does offer also a muzzle brake. I tend to prefer flash hiders with these smaller caliber weapons. For as far as a muzzle brake is concerned, unless you're getting up really, maybe a 308, but above 308, they're a lot more useful. I tend to go with the flash suppressors. Now, this lower receiver is one of their what's referred to as the Defender series. This is not the Mars. This is the original one. We do have an ambi safety on here, and we also have an Oregon ambi catch here. So again, these are basically just mil spec lower receiver. Of course, I put the Magpul Myad grip on everything. So we have the SOP mod stock. Now the buffer in here is a standard buffer. It's a standard weight buffer. When you shoot 300 Blackout, you don't want an H or an H2 or definitely not an H3 because you have a lot less pressure in there. You want to stay with just the standard buffer. Backup sights are LMT as well. So basically, if we want to engage the backup sights, we take the 3-power magnifier off. We flip up front and rear. And this will go through, so this will align with the optic. So if this optic was to go out, this is how quickly you'd be able to get back in the fight with having the backup iron sights in place. Now, the optics that were chosen. What we have here is a 300 Blackout EOTech. So the top one would be for 100. The bottom one would be for 50. So we also have a 3-power magnifier on here for use with 100 yards. It actually works out pretty well with it. But this is specifically designed for the 300 Blackout. It is it is calibrated for that round for both supersonic and subsonic. We have the Magpul 1913 rail protectors on here as well. Next thing I want to talk about is magazines. Now, 300 Blackout, you are able to use regular 5.56 magazines. However, these are 3 magazines here that are specifically designed for 300 Blackout. Now, what's the difference? The difference is the way the follower works. Basically, what happens is if you're using supersonic ammunition, it doesn't really make a difference. But if you're using subsonic with a 220 grain projectile, that is nose heavy. And sometimes that spring isn't strong enough to lift that front of that nose up. So the cartridge may be down and not feed. So what they did was they increased the spring tension on the top of the magazine, so it's more supported. So this is designed to work perfectly with the supersonic and the subsonic, but ideally subsonic. First one is the Lancer. Next one is C Products Defense, which is all steel, and then the Magpul. So those are the 3 magazines that we would use as well. So the ammunition that we used is mostly Black Hills, 220 grain. We had some SIG 220 grain as well. Again, the 300 Blackout, the whole point of it is it being quiet. So that's why I shoot suppressed. Now, if you wanted to use it for hunting, for say deer or whatnot, 16-inch barrel with a supersonic, with one of the higher end projectiles. Again, as we talked to about the supersonic versus the subsonic, supersonic is good for hunting cartridges and so forth. This is ideal for if you used it in the real world, having a short barrel, subsonic, and it would be quiet. So again, we're going to take this to the range. We're going to see how it shoots. Well, it's quiet. It's also rather funny because when you're shooting at 100 yards, you pull that trigger, it takes that bullet a while to get there compared to a 5.56. So it's pretty neat, but you actually hear the action clicking on here. Accuracy, we mostly just shot at the steel targets out at 50 and 100 yards. At 50 yards, you're looking at probably 1 MOA or maybe 1.5 MOA. These is not what you call a match grade barrel. It's not like one of the LMT's match grade barrels. Reliability, perfect. The system is a pistol length gas tube and gas block, which again gives you the pressure where you need it to operate subsonic. The reason for the pistol length gas system, which is short, is because you don't have a lot of power that you would normally have with the 5.56, where you're getting a carbine, so you're getting a lot of power to operate the action. You have to bring that back so when you're firing unsuppressed, that it will cycle with both supersonic and subsonic. That was the whole reason for the 300 Whisper versus the 300 Blackout. The 300 Blackout was designed so you could operate both super and sub with one gas port. That's where the pistol and gas system comes. When this was originally designed by J.D. Jones as a 300 Whisper, he basically had two different gas systems out there. He had a pistol length for subsonic, and he had a carbine length for supersonic. Where this one now, with just going with a pistol, having it optimized, you can do both on subsonic. Now, when you put the can on it, the can makes a big difference for as far as your pressure is concerned. It does increase your pressures. The can makes it more reliable, especially with this subsonic ammunition. But overall, this is a really fun gun to shoot. The LMT MRP, as many of you guys know, is probably my favorite of all the systems that are out there. Being able to configure this, right before I had it configured like this, I had a 12.5 inch external piston barrel and carrier in it. This can go with a 10.5 inch 5.56 barrel. I got 6.8 SBC barrels for this. There's just so much you can do with it, and it's so modular that I still think today this is the most significant update in the weapons platform. The strange thing was this came out around 2004. It didn't catch on probably until, I don't know, maybe probably around the 2010. It was at least 10 years before it actually really caught on, and then it started getting its military sales. Unfortunately, that patent's going to be up really soon, and this is when the MRP is at the top of its game. It's been adopted by New Zealand and Estonia, and of course many other special operations units all over the world. But it's an awesome system. Now, this one here is the 1913 rail. They also have one that has their own removable rail segments, and they have one that's now M-LOK. The M-LOK is the one that was chosen by Estonia, where New Zealand went with the 1913 rails. So it just does everything. No, another thing I forgot to put down here is that I use a PRI gas buster charging handle on here. And why do I do that? Keep gas out of my face. And really, it's not that bad with a 300 blackout at all. So any of you guys who are looking for a fun 300 blackout and you're in a free state where you can have SBRs, 10.5 inch barrel with a sound suppressor, this is really the ideal way to go. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, please click like, please subscribe, and even better, share.